It is official. Ohioans will cast ballots on abortion and marijuana this November. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Action News Now on this Thursday. The breaking news just into our newsroom. Legal marijuana has been approved for the ballot this coming November. Ohio voters will weigh in on whether or not recreational marijuana should be legalized across the state, along with enshrining abortion rights into the state's constitution. Both will be on your ballot. Issue 1, Issue 2, likely. We'll get the official name for each of those issues here as we move closer to November. If you're watching here on Facebook Live, let us know in the comments section whether you're going to vote yes or no on legal marijuana. Where will you land on this issue? As a little bit of a debrief, this is something that was not a sure thing. Going back just a couple weeks ago, there was a deadline that groups had who supported marijuana legalization to turn in the appropriate amount of signatures. And we'll talk about why marijuana and abortion kind of took different legal avenues here and the outcomes for both of those elections, why those could be different in just a second. But there's a deadline to get all the signatures turned in. Abortion advocates qualified on the first try. Marijuana advocates came up at just about 700 votes short. So they had to go back and recollect signatures. Well, they submitted about 10 times the amount that was required to end up landing on the ballots. And with that big batch that they ended up submitting, the Secretary of State's office just saying moments ago that they did have enough. They did have enough signatures to qualify on that second chance. That cure period is what it's called. So again, let us know in the comments, are you voting yes or no on this issue? Should Ohio legalize recreational marijuana in the state? How will you be voting this November? So voters going to get marijuana, voters also going to get abortion on their ballot this November. Abortion is a little bit of a different story because you'll be voting to enshrine abortion rights into the Constitution. Meantime, marijuana you'll be voting to pass as an actual law. It's called the initiated statute process. And long story short, that was a legal avenue that marijuana advocates went down to try and get this on the ballot. First, they had to submit so many things to get it request the legislature to review. The legislature has until a certain time to do that, to take up the issue. If they don't, then it can go to the voters if it gets enough signatures. Legislature, Ohio's Republican controlled legislature, decided not to take up the issue of legalizing marijuana, and therefore groups got to go collect signatures and send it to voters. They ended up clearing all of those thresholds. If it ends up passing, it will go on the books as a regular law. It could take some time, too, to get this program implemented. Of course, Ohio is still having issues with the rollout of the medical marijuana program. But it could take some time to get this all rolled out. It will go on the books as a law. That means that state lawmakers can do what they do with other laws sometimes and reverse course. They can say on November 8th, the day after the November 7th election, we're going to pass a law that makes marijuana illegal. So there is an avenue where state lawmakers could go and say, we don't want this to be a thing. Sorry, Ohio voters, I know what you said, but this isn't good for the state, and this is what we are going to do as your General Assembly. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there. Abortion is a different story because that would be a constitutional amendment. That is what we just had a fight over last week to make it 50 or 60% threshold for that to pass. Marijuana was going to need 50% no matter what happened with issue 1 last week. So for abortion and marijuana to pass in November, both will need a simple majority, 50% plus 1 vote. If abortion passes, it would be enshrined in the state's constitution. If marijuana passes, it would go on the books as a normal law. So again, chime in. A mixed bag of reaction coming in on social media, with some people saying they were helping collect signatures for both, some saying heavens yes, other people saying no. So let us know in the comment section what you think about this issue. And again, if you're just joining us, medical marijuana already legal in Ohio, recreational marijuana now heading to the ballot in November. I'm just getting reaction in to my news inbox from the groups who are behind this effort. Tom Herron with the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol. saying, quote, "We're grateful to the thousands of Ohioans who helped us get to this point and are excited to bring our proposal to regulate marijuana like alcohol before Ohio voters this coming election day." That statement from Tom Herron, again, the spokesperson for the coalition to regulate marijuana like alcohol. On the flip side of this coin, this week, a coalition against marijuana has formed that will be very active in TV spending, in, I'm sure, interviews on platforms like this one, advocating against legal marijuana this fall. Among them, pretty broad coalition that includes law enforcement, children's healthcare, business leaders. Here are some of the organizations: the Ohio Children's Hospital Association, the Ohio Adolescent Health Association, Buckeye Sheriff's Association, Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police, Ohio Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Prosecuting Attorneys Association, a couple of veterans groups, the former GOP chair in Ohio, Jane Timpkin. So there are quite a few groups and individuals who are coming out against marijuana and starting to organize to go after this campaign that you will assume will be well funded and have money to get on TV. And you didn't really see as coordinated of a public effort anyways like you did with abortion with marijuana. Certainly a lot of money going to go to abortion. We'll see what kind of resources come up for marijuana as they look to campaign to draw out voters for November. When I had talked to those on the pro-marijuana side before about their efforts, they said they're confident that they have enough resources to go out there and get this to win. On the flip side of that, groups who are against this, like Ohio Right to Life, have come out and said that we're confident that we're going to be able to defeat this and bring out the pro-Christian groups or the pro-life groups to vote against abortion and marijuana. Either way, you're going to have both of these issues on the ballot in November. We'll see who ends up turning out. It'll all come down to turn out as it does every election, as it did with that issue 1 election. It came down to who showed up, and for the issue 1 election last week, 57% of Ohioans said no to making it harder for the abortion issue and future constitutional amendments to pass. Will that be the case for abortion and marijuana? It is something that we will see as we approach November. So thanks for all of you who are tuning in and chiming in here on our Facebook page and letting us know. A bit of a mixed bag, and anytime we do a story about abortion or we send a poll to you, always very well received response and robust debate, and well received response, meaning a healthy amount of people weighing in on this. It certainly is something that has eyeballs for people, this issue along with abortion. Both of them heading to the ballot this November in the Buckeye State. More coverage of this story coming up throughout the rest of this evening on Action News. Lee Conklin, Christian Brown on TV with you all the way until 6:30. For all of us here at 13 Action News, I'm Josh Krupp saying good day from Toledo.